Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today it is Thursday, which means it is time for another Throwback Thursday, looking back at a old deck, and I've had quite a few people ask me to do the German-Japan midrange, which I've referenced quite a few times in the other videos. German-Japan midrange is a deck which was very, very dominant on ladder. Just before the start of the first OCCs. It predates the dominance of Heinz, which sort of came about after people started trying out different things with Germany, once they nerfed German-Japan midrange into the ground. The list I have here is from Ari's list from the very first OCC, which he won. He went 5-1 with this deck. Because in the original OCC you could play the same deck multiple times, you just couldn't play it twice in a row. So in his first set he lost with this game 1, won with a different deck game 2, won with this game 3, and then won with a game 1 of the next set, and then won with it in games 1, 3, and 5 in the finals. So yeah, this deck went 3-0 in the finals. And I don't have the exact list. I pieced it together by looking at all 6 of the games and putting it together. People had very, very different versions of this deck. Like in the same tournament, Darkness was also bringing German-Japan midrange. His list ran Panzer L, it ran 22nd Infantries. There's a lot of different versions of this deck, but this is Ari's. Ari's is the pioneer of the deck, and this is the one that won the tournament. Now, what I will say is this tournament happened after the nerfs, so the decks slightly changed from the decks that were like incredibly dominant on ladder, but not a lot. So let's go through the deck list. First of all, there is 3 cavalries, 3 34ths. These are your 1-cost infantry to trigger 38T. Of course, you have Nakshub in there. This used to be a 4 34ths. No cavalry kind of deck, back when 34th was a 2-3. Same cost, same effect. So, 1k 230 op cost infantry was pretty insane. Also, a lot of people ran encirclements at this time in this deck. And encirclement cost 2 back then, so you'd play 34th on turn 1, move up 34th, and then summon a second 34th that could attack face with 0 op. So because this tournament happened after that point, Ari threw in some cavalries. And then of course you have Arado. There's only 8 orders in the deck. 3 of them were joint operations. I've mentioned this before. I think basically every deck we've seen up till this point ran joint operation. Joint operation used to be able to go face. Same text, just used to be able to target the headquarters. So basically it was a 2-cost, deal 3 damage, deal 4 damage, sometimes only 2 damage, but like if you only need to deal 2 damage, it doesn't matter. And then sometimes it's just a 2-cost air blitz for closing out games. Of course, 35T, it's insane. Gebirgsjäger, this is a card which I think aged pretty poorly. It was originally a 3-3, and then at the time of this tournament it had been nerfed to a 2-3 already, but Ari still ran it. I think that was, just looking back in retrospect, I think that was probably a mistake. At 3-3, it was pretty insane because it couldn't be targeted by orders, couldn't be removed, and it just traded with a lot of 2-cost, or 2-attack units, like cavalry. It killed 34ths for free, 35Ts. It was just an all-around really good card, and then when combined with Encirclement, it would summon a 4-4 untargetable. The -1 health is a pretty big deal, and so you're basically just paying 2 cost for a 3-2 infantry that can't be targeted. And this is the only Alpine card in the deck, and Ari's not running encirclements, so it's basically just a 2-cost 3-2 can't be targeted. And is that actually better than, for example, this card, which is a 2-cost 3-2 can move and attack on the same turn? I'm not convinced. But this is the list that Ari ran. Autocannon, of course, autocannon used to be a 3-2, deals 2 damage to the enemy HQ for each unit played, just a little extra burn to get you across the finish line. And then, as we saw in the last deck, with the deck last week. 3 Nebelwerfers. Nebelwerfer was really popular. It killed cavalries on 1. Well, it killed turn 1 cavalries on 3, which would synergize with Nakshub. Nakshub used to be able to proc several times a turn. It used to be whenever you kill an enemy unit with your unit, gain 2 credits. Could trigger as many times as you want. So they were often, if your opponent flooded, sometimes you would just like flood right back with a Nakshub and basically just trade down their entire board in 1 turn. Nebelwerfer played a key part in that. And the other thing is it's artillery, which is another unit type for the joint ops. And then 3 Flam Panzers, because again, 34th infantries were incredibly popular. So Flam Panzer is basically just a 3k kill their 34th developing the unit. Flam Panzer used to be a 3-4 at this time, which was another buff for why people would sometimes run encirclements, because 2 cost, summon a 3-4 tank in the front line with Blitz is pretty good. Panzer H, this card is just really good. It actually used to be a 2-5, which is actually, it might not seem like that big of a difference, but trust me, it actually stuck around a lot longer than it had any right to. Takasagi, we saw this in the Japan-German midrange deck. It used to be a 3-6, and still was at the time of the tournament. I mean, you basically just ran it because it's a really good value card. And we're going to see that there's Kriegsmarine in this deck, so Takasagi seems kind of counterintuitive with Kriegsmarine. You don't really want to be discarding them if you're dealing damage for every card they discard, or based on the cards in hand, sorry. Also, Takasagi, like, are you really worried about your opponent killing you if you're running this many 1-drops and early game removal? Like, I feel like if you're, I don't know, playing against Jagro and they have a ton of units in the front line, you've lost the game already, because your hand has got to be like Empire of the Sun, Kriegsmarine, Tiger. 2 Sendais, this is just really good because of the Erados. You want Erados drawing specific orders, so Sendai is a nice unit-based removal that can hit anything. It can hit untargetable tanks, which this deck runs 3 of. 2 Panther Gs, 2 Tiger IEs, which means 5 untargetable units in total. Yeah, basically the point of this deck was just stick really sticky minions or units and hit face with them. Deal a lot of damage. Also why he's running Comet, just if your opponent doesn't have a guard, you essentially win the game. Kriegsmarine for a little extra burn. Admiral Hipper, just because Admiral Hipper is a really good value card. And then where things get a little funky, at the back end of the deck is Bismarck, 2 Empire of the Suns, no Leopold. I'm not 100% certain Ari did not run Leopold, but I watched 6 games and not once did Leopold show up in the mulligan, in the hand at any point, or discarded off a 34th Infantry. And I'm fairly confident on the numbers of every single other card in this deck. Like every elite, I'm certain he runs. I know he runs 2 Panther Gs, I know he runs 2 Sendais, I know he runs 2 Takasagis, I know he runs 3 Flam Panzers, 3 Warbles. So, I think he might not just have not run Leopold, which is kind of insane to me. But, like, I guess the point of the deck is... I mean, no, I honestly can't say why you wouldn't run Leopold in this deck. I mean, I understand that the deck, you don't want to be too top-heavy, but I feel like I would sooner take out Tiger IE than Leopold, if that was the worry, or Bismarck instead of Leopold. Another thing to note is this tournament was before Honey was a card, and it was before Mare Nostrum was a card, so there was very limited ways to heal. Obviously, if you queue into somebody running like 4 fortifications, it's gonna suck, but someone running 4 fortifications, it means that they're running 4 cards in their deck which don't do anything, whereas you're only running like quote-unquote 2 cards in your deck that don't do anything. So you're probably just gonna win on board anyways. So yeah, this is the German-Japan mid-range deck. Basically, you would just dump absurdly efficient and high-value units for the time. Obviously, we have more efficient and more high-value units now. But yeah, you dump a whole bunch of cards on the board, try to get a bunch of damage in early, and then once people start guarding up with their Gren Guards or slamming B-17s and stuff, that's when you just try to finish out the game with Comet, Kriegsmarine, Bismarck, or use Empire of the Sun to refill your hand and just dump a whole bunch of units on the board again. Changes I would make to this deck now? I mean, is there any better zero-op infantry? Well, obviously, you're not running the 1st Infantry Regiment. Like Jaeger, Geburgs Pioneer. I could see Geburgs Pioneer being good in this deck with just the number of 3-drops you run. Also, it gives you a little extra Alpine value on the Geburgs Jaeger. I mean, 34ths are not bad. I think it's a common misconception that this card is terrible because it discards a card from your deck every turn. If you never draw the card... Sorry, if you discard a card, so for example, like you discard a Bismarck on turn 1, and you're like, oh my goodness, this card is terrible, I don't have Bismarck in my deck anymore, how do I win? It's only going to matter if you draw through your entire deck and hit fatigue. Because otherwise, if you have one card left in your deck, and the game ends, that one card could have been Bismarck. Like, this... It doesn't, like, change the odds at all. It actually just gives you more information about what is left in your deck. So it's a common misconception that the effect is bad. It's really only bad as soon as you hit fatigue. Or as soon, if you're running like specific fetch cards, for example, if you're running like Arctic Convoy and you run like one unit in your deck and then it discards that one unit, now Arctic Convoy is useless. But I mean, that's not the case here. So this card is good. But the question is a 1-cost 0-op 2/2 infantry good enough to still be played? Which is a natural question, because, I mean, it just sort of trades 1-for-1 with 35T, Cavalry Regiment. I mean, 1-cost units are good for not getting farmed by, like, Fiats and stuff. Geburgs Pioneer seems like a really tempting choice for this deck, just because of the amount of 3-drops. But it's also possible that you just get... it goes second and then kind of get bricked. We'll try Geburgs. Keep 134th, maybe. It's kind of weird to run it as a 1 copy. I mean, not this. I have thought this card is, like, has a very... This card seems very powerful when put into the right deck. Obviously the problem is finding the right deck. I mean, I'm gonna keep the joint hops, to be completely honest. Do I think 7 strikes are probably just better? Yeah. Like if you're playing against... Well, you have triple Flampanzer, so if you're playing against air, it's not the end of the world. You also have some blitz cards. So yeah, I'm gonna keep the joint operation. I feel like that's a key part of the deck, even if it doesn't hit face anymore. This deck does run a wide range of units. I'll also be keeping the autocannon, the Nebels, the Flams, Panzer H. Takasagi, I kind of want to just get rid of. Like, you don't need the guard in this deck, based on how the rest of it is built. And I feel like, especially with Takasagi being nerfed down to a 2/6, before I had a 3/6 guard that your opponent doesn't really want to kill, it's pretty good, because you can just put it into the front line and it's a 3/6 that your opponent doesn't really want to kill. However, I feel like at 2/6, there's just not enough damage. It doesn't trade with enough things. Gonna keep the Sendai's, Hipper, Panther G, Comet. I mean, okay, let's be honest, we need Leopold in this deck. I'm tempted to take out... Okay, well, first, like, if we were going to make this into a modern-day deck, you'd run Research, probably. You'd run Jagdbomber, this card's really good. I don't think you need Schwalbe. You'd probably run... I mean, they had access to From the Deep at the time, like, they just chose not to run it. Heinkel, seems like a really good option, especially with joint tops. I mean, between all of these things, I think I want Heinkel in the deck. I could also see taking out Hipper for the Jagd Bomber. It would also make the draws off of Errado slightly better. I feel like Hipper is probably one of the weaker options off of that. And, like, Tiger IE, the problem with Tiger IE is this card used to be the most insane card in the game. Like, obviously it could die to, like, Avenger, but if you're playing against US ramp, you're not just slamming Tiger IE on 8. Now it just dies to Dechima on curve, and, like, everyone runs Dechima. And, yeah. And it's not like they'll have played their Dechimas earlier than that point. Yeah, if you play Tiger IE, there's just a Dechima with its name on it. However, I don't want to... I think King Tiger is too much for this deck. I could just see taking out the Tiger IE altogether. Maybe taking it out for a Schwalb. Just because this deck doesn't run Sky Barons, it could be a little weak to... And it doesn't run, like, the most blitz to the support line cards, so it could be a little weak to air. Research is just so high value, but... I mean, maybe I take out one joint top for a research. So another card that I was thinking of, especially now that there's more Japan cards free, was Kagashima. Just because with, like, Mary Nostrum and Honeys and whatnot, there's just so much healing in the game right now, and this deck is... When you're running cards like Bismarck, you do not want your opponent healing. So, like, Kagashima could be really good, especially with 7th Alpinis being around now. You just slam a Kagashima in the support line and then trade into it. Problem is, you just run so many 3-drops in this deck. And, like, I don't really want to take out the 34th, just because you really want the infantries. And you want the 1-drops. So, we're going to go with this list for now. Do I think this is fun? Yeah. I mean, I think having, like, some more expensive late game is fine for this deck, because you're not running anything in the middle. Like, you're not really running 6-drops. And there's only... Well, I'm Comet, but... It's a pretty sharp drop-off after 3. So, the odds are you're still going to be able to play something on 1, 2, or 3. Even if you hit, like, 2 or 3 of these 10-cost cards. Also with Panzer H, you're going to be able to cycle some of these to the bottom of your deck. It's... Man, if there was like 42 cards in this deck, I'd put in Kagashima. I could see myself taking out like one Nebelwerfer, maybe. There's just not as many 1-health units in the game as before. Another card that I considered for this deck, I'm considering, is Zero. It's because you don't have a ton of fighters in the deck, so it does have the joint top value, and its deployment effect is essentially the same as Nebelwerfer. An ambush fighter is pretty good against air. However, I feel like it's worse than Jagd. I feel like you're already getting a bit heavy if I run Zero. So I'm not going to run Zero. Maybe I just throw in one Kagoshima. Like, if I know I'm against a Mary Nostrum deck, I can pull it off of Panzer H. I think that's probably fine. So, this is actually the same card back that Ari used in the tournament, and there was no other alternative HQs at the time, so this is a take on Ari's midrange deck, and now, like usual, we will take it into ladder. I'm actually 13 points off of top 10, so maybe I can even take this deck into top 10. Either that or I'm going to flounder miserably and drop like 40 points. I mean, this deck's probably going to be like atrocious into self-damage. It should be fine into ramp. Air, Jagro, I think has winning chances into Air and Jaguar just because there's so many like early game removals with triple flam. US keeps 2 cards. I feel like Kagashima's just generally a good card against any US deck. Keeping 2 cards. Could be ramp, could be US midrange. I'm going second. I think I'm just going to full mulligan. I need a 1-drop. Hopefully it's midrange. Doesn't look like it. Not really the hand you want against ramp. Oh, I totally forgot I'm still running the Geburgsjägers. I meant to take this out. I just feel like this card, I mean, it has op cost, it's slow. Oh, actually no, the reason I didn't take it out is because of the Geburgs Pioneers. Just a little bit of extra Alpine value in there. I mean, I feel like it's still just better to take it out, but I'm gonna keep it in for Ari's sake. Getting roped out on turn 2. Next turn is probably just going to be move up attack with Panzer 35T if you play some milk truck trade. Okay. Sendai is tempting, because he's getting into the range where he could just, like, slam with Gren Guides next turn. However, Panther G does get damage in. I mean, I feel like next turn he's probably just going to play I think it's more likely he plays... Ah, damn it. Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like it's okay. I was not expecting that. Oh, is this the unitless deck? If this is the unitless deck, this guy's gonna get farmed. Do I want to move this up? Yeah, I think so. If it's the unitless deck, he doesn't run a ton of put cards and hand cards, and it curves out for me attacking for 8. Lets him get the DFA off, I guess. So it is definitely the unitless deck at this point. I think I'd rather hold on to the resistances for now. Because it is straight up possible this goes to fatigue. Like, I need to find my comets. And I don't want to take the damage, because if he hits nukes, game could just end. I mean, generally just getting units to the front line is really good. These joint operations actually do nothing. The fact that he used a Call to the Colonies to draw is really good for me. Okay. Not quite unitless. Draws again. Interesting. Do I have to just like 34th and well, okay, he's running some units, so probably not. That's happening for sure. Could just like get him. Try to get as much damage in as possible. He's down to a maximum of 17 healing left. Actually, I guess he's running gunships. Although maybe he cut that. He had to cut something for Hellcat. I mean, Hellcat's essentially removal, so. Ooh. I mean, these just die. Tiger Eye is also just gonna die, but... Oh, right, I can't. So let's do this. 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 Yeah, Hellcat's a good addition to the deck. Gunship Stars and Stripes? Gunship's a battery. So he's down 2 batteries and a gunship and 2 Hellcats. He's also getting low on cards. I mean, here's the thing. If I draw Comet, I just win the game. At any point. So, I feel like I want to burn the least number of cards as possible for my deck, out of worry it burns Comet. Okay, that's fine. Hoping to, yeah, bait out the Hab. Yeah, I think it's time to just slam the Tiger. Like, he could kill it with... Like, if he has a way to kill the Cav, and then second DFA. Tiger dies, but... Yep. That's fine. He has like 1,000,001 ways to kill this. Alright, he's out of Defend in Depths. Just toss that out. That's quite gross. I could just double research. Like, if I take damage, I take damage. If he's running the, oh, what's it called? Stupid card. Like, Shore Bombardment, I think. He can buff one of them, but if he buffs one of them, it just dies. Interesting. Okay, pretty far from a unitless deck, actually. Fine. That's really annoying. So he's presumably going to draw some removal. Oh my goodness. Okay, well actually it doesn't matter because I have Kriegsmarine. And then I can still trade. It's actually really big. Comet's bottom 5. Because I haven't seen Comet off of the 3 choose 1 cards. DFA's. I think he's out of them now. Is playing Naxu better than not playing anything? I think it should be fine. I'm basically just dead to strategic bombing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm gonna lose this game because of strategic bombing. Yep, there it is. Alright. I mean, I got baited into thinking it was the unitless deck, and then died to the units. Let's see what else we get. That was just a really sad game. I feel like I drew somewhat poorly, but also just the amount of cards in my deck that are based around dealing with opponents' units. It's pretty high. Japan. I mean, if it's Jaguar, there's a good chance that he plays 1-cost infantry and then kills it with 35T, but I mean, you have to play to your outs. And currently my outs is, yeah, he doesn't have in 1-drop infantry. I mean, that's almost certainly going to trade, but if it doesn't trade, I win. And if it does trade, I'm fine. He would have to be literally insane not to trade here. What? Okay. So I guess it's not an aggro deck, it's just a pin control deck that has like a somewhat aggressive start. What is happening? Please let me draw infantry. Okay. It's the strangest deck I've ever seen. I mean, let's just send that back to hand. If this trades with like a Sonya and a surprise attack, I'm fine with that. Ooh. It's an interesting draw. I think it actually might be better to hit the tank just because it's 0-op. There's a slight misplay of the Nax here, but I should have played it on the right. Take that out. And we're gonna develop the research. I know my hand's really heavy, and I could have just, like, flying bombed the Dina, but I feel like I might want to get the discard effect this game. Oh, that's very, very bad. I can probably count the number of times I've gone for synthetic oil on, like, one hand. Okay, trading is good. I mean, I'm running no healing and no guides, so. Strange. Okay, so this is 10, but it's gonna draw 6, so I want to get stuff out of my hand first. Pog. Gonna play the Alpine instead of the autocannon, just because it plays in around board clears, not board clears, like bombing, right? And carpet bombing. I would rather carpet bomb the other Alpine than the autocannon. I could just like autocannon Comet the AA gun. I mean, not that the AA gun is super threatening. I could do autocannon Errado Panther G. Does let him trade, which I'm not super happy about. I mean, autocannon Comet to kill that just seems so slow, especially with how large my hand is. That's an interesting possibility. I could do cavalry over here and then joint top. I mean, I think I just really want to get the Panther G on the board. Like, how does he deal with this? Okay, so this goes here, Comet comes out, 7, and then I can joint top without fear of discarding what's in my hand. Attack first with the Comet, because if Comet gets pinned, that's fine. Then attack here. If it discards cavalry, I'm fine. It's also fine. Do I actually want to play cavalry? Like, I feel like the odds he has a board clear are very high, but I guess it's... he's probably running naval ops with just the amount of pin he has. Slams Tony Raw, but trades. Okay. Can trade for 2 credits. I could also sack the Heinkel instead, maybe. So this is happening. This is happening. This is happening. The question is, do I rather keep the bomber or the 0-up tank? I think I'd rather keep the tank, to be completely honest. Also does slightly more damage. That's interesting. Does not surprise attack this, so he is just dead to Comet, which he can see in my hand from intel. Okay. Alright. 50% win rate. Loses to unitless US France, but beats pin Japan Britain. Let's play one more game. Maybe two more, we'll see. Yeah, this deck's just a ton of fun. It still is a ton of fun. I mean, obviously not as much anymore because you lose more often than you win, rather than winning like 85% of your games. But I mean, just playing like value 3 to 5 cost units feels really good, rather than just like going all in and praying you top deck lethal, or just running a ton of removal and praying your opponent doesn't like hit the nuts. Flampanzer. I mean, there's so many cards that deal with like 30 seconds if this is US midrange. So be it. I mean, do I even keep Gebirgsjäger? I have 7 1-cost infantries. Yeah, let's do this. Interesting. So, if I go for Gebirgsjäger, it probably just gets farmed by a 35T. Unfortunately. If he does 35T up, I can actually farm him. Wait, why would you do that? Okay. I mean, sure. Which does he flam? Nakshub. Interesting. Yeah, this deck's also a lot about tempo. Like, if the more damage you're able to get in it early, especially against decks that run little to no healing, the more likely it is you can just close it out at the end of the game. Okay. I think it's just going to be the Panther G. Like, it gets traded with Hellcat, but I could also just move this up. Do I care if he gets a flam back? Well, maybe this is a mistake, because if he does like first Marines or 5th Marines to kill that, if he double trades, I'm happy. Nah, that's annoying. That actually could trade. Like, there's a world where I win this via denying Sherman. Problem is I don't get Panther G down. I could also joint top the Flam and double trade and move up. No, I don't actually have enough credits for that. Well, I have enough credits to kill it. I can clear the board. Do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, the extra credits do significantly less going forward. So I actually do think I'll just clear. I mean, he's down both Red Devils. And if he gets something else to the front line, if he just like gets a Cali or something, that's perfectly fine. Problem for him is if he does Hellcat to trade into it. Ooh. That cannot feel good. To be honest, I kind of just want to hit the Sherman. Because if he does, we can do it. Sherman is the only one that will survive attacking into the Panther G after we can do it. Okay. It's presumably not we can do it. It's probably a second Sherman. So cavalry gets to the front line for sure. Is hitting face... I don't think hitting face is worth it. I definitely want to get the second Panther G down though. Ooh. Hidden face is certainly more tempting now. Yeah, I think I need to get the Panther G down. He trades 2 30-seconds in. That's 2 credits, 3 credits move up. Sherman, 7 credits. And hopefully he doesn't have 35T. Not Sherman. That's very interesting. Okay, just remove as many units as possible, in case if we can do it. Also keep health on, oh, if I get hit by like a stars here, that would be really sad. Cards in my hand are making a pretty awkward curve. Air Blitz. Alrighty then. Could just like slam Leopold. Okay, well, slamming Leopold gets blown out by Okay, let's do this first instead of in case of air defense. Hit that. I think I can just pass here. I mean, unless this guy's running like retaliation or some nonsense. Oh, you... Okay. That's fine. Yeah. That's sad. 2-1. Might have actually regained my elo there. We're down by 1. Let's do one more game. I mean, yeah. The deck certainly does not feel as strong as it used to. There's too many just like vanilla units. Like 34th, Geberg's Pioneers, the Panther Gs, the Tiger IE. There's too many units that you just play them because they're high in value, but like they're horrifically low in tempo. And then you have some guys that are high in tempo, like Flam Panzer or Whirlwind, but they're only high in tempo against very specific decks. If this is self-damage, probably need the Jagd Bomber. And it's just generally a good card. I'm not going to play Cavalry because every Soviet deck runs Sickles. I don't even think it's worth playing this without a 35T. I think I'm just gonna pass. It's the one upside of the Gebirgsjäger, I guess. Okay. Does not self-damage. So it's gonna be one of these games. I think I just pass and Flam Panzer it next turn. $35T is a really good draw. Hopefully this isn't Ardy, and it's just like some Soviet US midrange. Because if it's Ardy and he has like 10th engineers, oh, do not get the second 50-50. Okay, Sickle. That's really annoying. Joint top would be really nice. I really want to kill the Greyhound. But like the odds he has a oh, that is a sad one to see go. Okay. What other Soviet infantry is he running? Oh my goodness. Should have turned that to hand and killed the Greyhound. It's a very interesting deck he's playing, actually. This finally lets me kill the caddy. Assuming he doesn't, like, slam 52k. Okay. Kill that. Kill that. Hopefully it does not run Winter Warfare. I'm very interested in this guy's deck, though. It kind of seems like a similar style to my deck, where you just sort of run value units and burn your opponent down over time. Okay, so this definitely trades. I mean, the one downside of Soviet US is you just don't have a lot of card draw. Oh, please stop doing that. I mean, he's US ally, so he doesn't have forced draw. Like, if he had French ally here, I would literally just die to phony war. Red banner, please hit the yes. Thank you. Oh no. Please stop. Oh my goodness. Oh, does this let me? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. No, it does not let me get Panther G down. I can kill this though. What if I do? So this is 10. Let's start with this. Because maybe it just gets me an Empire of the Sun and I don't have to worry about things. Leopold's very good in this situation. I don't want to play Nakshub just in case I get locked in my own support line. Ura here would be pretty bad. Yeah, it would just be lethal with Ura. He's gonna wish he saved that. Go to Rado. There's a slim possibility he runs Stars and Stripes. He is a US ally, so... This guy. Okay, let me get the errata down. Just gonna double check I have enough credits to... Whew! Okay. Yeah, this is why Empire of the Sun is in the deck. There's still a handful of cards that I could die to. Like Caddy plus potentially Ura here. Not to that. I actually would have had lethal there if Joint Top could still hit face. It's a very interesting deck by him, but unfortunately, it's true back when this deck was played, and it's still true now. Germany just sort of has the best mid-range tools. One win from top 10. It's too tempting. I'm gonna play one more, try to get top 10. If it's a loss, I mean, I think this happened last time. Like, I think in the last video, I was one win from top 10, and I decided to play another and lost like 20 points or something. But, we're committed now. Chaotic Poison on Brits. I suspect this is going to be Brit Air. I recognize the name. If it's Brit Air, Geberg's Pioneer is bad. I just want to find one drop so he can't activate Fiat. Well, these two cards are good. This card's mediocre. This card is terrible. If I play Geberg's Pioneer and he trades, it's honestly fine. I am going to play it over the Cavalry because of Albacore. That's also fine. Kill the Swordfish. I really don't want to move up and hit. But I don't think I have a superbly better play. If he slams like Spitfire or something, I can Sendai. Ooh. I think just trading is best. That's really annoying. Hopefully it does not have Albacore Empire Strikes. This could just be like Slam Kriegsmarine. Deal 5, discard a card. I think playing Jägerbomber is probably marginally better, seeing as the odds he can do a 3-bomber Empire Strikes is astronomically low. Actually, is it even possible? I don't even think it's possible, because he's played a Swordfish already. I have to be mindful of my health. That's fine. I kill it. Oh, that's a very good draw, too. And I will move up. It's convoy number 3. It's probably better to do Panther G, Panzer H than just slam Tiger. Because these two are trading in for sure. I could also trade out the Swordfish now. I think it's almost definitely better. He's down both rafts. So this is just the no-win list. Is he gonna play his naval support on it? Yes, he is. Okay, so this is 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I don't have enough credits afterwards. I mean, it's probably better to just hit like this, right? Because what in his deck deals 2 damage and not 3? Basically just double Albacore or 1 Bomber Empire Strikes, both of which I think I would rather hit like this. Okay, it's convoy number 4. Pass. Oh, he might be trying to set up a Spitfire lethal. This discards, assuming it goes through, I drop him to 8. It still doesn't even set up Bismarck lethal. And there's obviously the possibility of Ultra. Spitfire Finest Hour is 12. Spitfire Finest Hour Cass is 13. If he has... what is this, 11? Is there anything that I can do? I guess I can Panzer H look for a Rado. Yikes. Probably the joint top. Well, no, I have Sendai. I'm gonna do Empire of the Sun. He might be trying to set up like a Sendai 2-turn lethal thing. If I die exactly to Spitfire Finest Hour, cast number 3, cast number 4, then screw me, I guess. Okay. He should just be dead next turn. And hit him with this. Kriegsmarine. Okay, that should actually be getting a decent chunk of points off of him. Top 10, baby. Okay. Top 10 and beat the deck that... an OCC deck. You saw it here first. Yeah, after playing, if I had to make more changes, the Geburg's Pioneers just do not do anything. Like Whirlwind could be a good replacement, to be honest. Because you want something cheap. The deck could honestly use beefs. I don't think this would be the worst deck ever to run beefs in. Yeah. Honestly, I'll put the version of the deck that I played in the description, but just know I recommend taking out Warbles or the Geburg's Pioneers for Warbles, and I'll end the video here. Thanks guys for watching, and if there's any deck you want to see for next week's Throwback Thursday, let me know. Peace.